Hi YouTube, it's Sarah from Losing It For Me 42, and I just wanted to come on and talk, talk about a few things that I brought up in other videos that I got a lot of feedback on, which was amazing. One was VSG and depression, and I wanted to say a little recap of me and my situation. And I put at the top of this that I am not a medical doctor. I have no medical license or certification whatsoever. This is just me talking about me. So I've suffered from depression most of my life. As a kid growing up, heavier than everyone else, in the pre-bully age, I was really treated horribly as a kid by other kids and by adults. And if you grew up in the anti-bullying age, let me know. I'd really be very curious, how you felt your school day and other activities treated you for being different. Very curious, because I was treated very horribly. I started therapy when I was in 4th grade, and it was because I was asked to write an essay about recess. And it was supposed to be this nice, fun, recess, I have lots of fun, I play with my friends, la la la. And I wrote what really happened at recess, where I was teased and bullied and punched and all sorts of stuff. And I was put into therapy, and nothing happened to the kids who did it. So that kind of set up a whole bunch of stuff in my brain. And yeah, so I was from, 3rd grade on, I knew I was different. I was also, I was overweight, I was poor, and I was awkward. 3 things that just added up to being singled out at all times. I have dealt with my depression over the years between medications and therapies and all sorts of different things. And I have really felt, and so have my, counselors have felt, that I have really gotten a handle on it. I don't know so much if you have this kind of the kind of depression that I have, if you can just get over it. I don't think I'll ever be over it. I think for me, it's more, I just deal with it on a daily basis. And I don't let it control my daily basis, which is, I guess, the most, yay, success you can get. I'm very, as I've been told, I'm very self-aware. So when I feel things, I typically can I don't want to say very easily, but I typically can dig into it and figure out why I feel that way. What causes me to feel that way? Do I feel that way because of something that's actually going on, or do I feel that way because of emotions that are not based in reality? So I'm pretty good at that. And usually if I feel a particular way and don't know why, that really bugs me, because I'm usually very good at sorting out the reasons behind stuff. So my recent depression, I was well aware, was a culmination of 2 things, which was, or actually more apt to say is, the anniversary of my mother's death was a very real, tangible thing. And the tumultuous hormones post-op. So the hormones seem to be heightening everything. I don't think they're creating anything. I think they're just heightening everything. I'm just super sensitive to anger, to depression, to sadness, to, I think at times, hyperness. And I think that this is something that I know most doctors make you see a counselor or a psychiatrist or something pre-op to make sure that you don't have, at least mine really stressed it as that you don't have, unrealistic expectations, that you are, you're not having surgery thinking it's going to be just like, boom, you're all better. And I was really kind of surprised when she started she did talk very briefly about hormones, that with her knowing my history of depression, that it wasn't something that was really discussed more. I highly suggest that if you have any kind of anxiety or depression or any kind of, like, I don't want to say abnormal, but like, any kind of symptoms, or I don't know how to put it without being that, like, saying something that sounds more negative than it should be. But if you have any of, like, that kind of stuff, I would highly suggest seeing your own therapist before VSG and talking to them about a plan on, like, making sure your therapist is aware of what VSG does. Being, of the hormones that could be, easily raging through you. And I know quite a few of us who are, like, a month or two post-op right now have all really, commented on how, really different we feel in that aspect. How we feel, on some slight, I haven't heard it from others. Some are slight, and some of us are really dealing with, like, some raging issues, and it's causing, it stems off into other things. Like, for me, my trigger was the depression over my mother, and then it was like a wet blanket on my brain that just affected everything. I thought of because that's what depression does. Like, it just, it's like a veil that just, even when you're happy about something, it has, to get out to get outside of you, to get into the effectual world, like, it has to go through that veil of depression. And that's very difficult. I'm at least very aware of my feelings and the causes, and, I can very easily look at this and go, like, oh, I know it's hormonal. So it's something to definitely be very careful about. If you have any kind of issues, that you're really dealing very closely with your support structure, because that could lead to some very bad episodes where you're doing things and you don't know why. And, I've heard people, and I know for me as well, like, your anxiety can get worse. You think, like, oh, VSG, I'll feel so much more confident in myself. But because you have a chemical imbalance from the hormones, it can actually trigger a lot of things that you didn't think necessarily would be caused by it. And I was really surprised, because I thought, that because I hadn't had dramatic, 30 pounds in a month weight loss, I had 25 in 2 months, kind of. Like, I thought, I was kind of not in that because everyone always said the extreme weight loss can cause hormone imbalances as the fat releases hormones. But I don't think that's just it. I'm not a doctor. I don't know stuff. I don't know the technicalities of it, but I know that they say that like your stomach does contain hormones and does regulate some things. And for me, it was just that slight bit off that really affected me very strongly. I'm also noticing that with my period, like being, having PMS, like it's so strong. It's like the emotions are so strong. Like I was always one, on occasion, if I saw like a Kodak commercial, I'd be like crying my eyes out going, oh my God, the dad's at the wedding, But like now I'm sobbing. Like I was watching The Martian the other day. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies. And I was watching it, and when they left him on the planet, I was like crying. I've watched this movie like 100 times. And my boyfriend just looks over at me and he's like, are you crying? And I'm like, shut up. And like he gave me like a all sad face, but like I was like, it's something that wouldn't normally move me really moved me. So I'm finding that my emotions are very, very heightened. And I think that is something, especially if you suffer from anything, or if you don't, if you have no diagnosis or anything like that, but you suddenly feel like completely out of control, like that's definitely something to, contact your surgeon, contact a psychiatrist, a therapist, or whoever, and, get the help you need, because it's rough. I would not advise anyone to go on this on their own, and to work closely with whatever support structure you have in place, and, let them be aware that, this could change things, and that, I know for me, like all of my coping mechanisms, it puts a strain on them, because this is so different than how I normally feel. I usually, if I have very strong feelings, it's usually caused by something, like by an event. And to have very strong feelings that last, that don't have a specific tie to an event, is very difficult for me to process in my coping mechanisms. So I think it's definitely something that everyone should be very aware of and very close with their whatever support structure they have. So that's my 2 cents on VSG and depression. Okay, bye guys. Maybe.